Welcome to the channel Old Glory Coins. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people walk past pennies on the street, toss them into jars, or hand them over without a second thought. But what if I told you that one specific Lincoln penny from 2006 could be worth an absolutely staggering amount of money? We're not talking about a few $100s or even a few thousand. We're talking about a coin that has reached values up to $22 million. Yes, you heard that right. $22 million for a single penny that might be hiding in your pocket change right now. This isn't some wild fantasy or clickbait exaggeration. This is the real world of numismatics where tiny mistakes, rare variations, and historical significance can transform ordinary pocket change into life-changing wealth. The 2006 D Lincoln penny might look like every other copper coin you've ever handled. But hidden among millions of regular strikes are a few specimens that possess characteristics so rare, so sought after by collectors, that they've become the holy grail of modern coin collecting. And here's the thing that makes this even more exciting. If you stick with me until the very end of this video, I'm going to reveal not just one but three Lincoln pennies that could make you incredibly wealthy. And trust me when I say the values only get more unbelievable as we go, with coins reaching values that will absolutely blow your mind. So make sure you watch every single second because what I'm about to share could literally change your financial future. Now, let's dive deep into why the 2006 D Lincoln penny has become such a phenomenon in the collecting world. The year 2006 might seem recent, almost too recent for a coin to have significant value, right? After all, we're used to thinking that only ancient coins or those from the early 1900s carry serious collector interest. But that's exactly where most people make their biggest mistake. They assume age equals value, when in reality, it's rarity, condition, and unique characteristics that determine a coin's worth. The Denver Mint, indicated by that small D mint mark beneath the date, produced hundreds of millions of Lincoln pennies in 2006, flooding circulation with what seemed like ordinary coins. But within that massive production run, something extraordinary happened. A series of minting errors, die variations, and unique strikes created a small number of pennies that would become legendary among collectors. One of the most valuable variations involves a double die obverse error, where the design elements on the front of the coin appear doubled due to a misalignment during the hub and die creation process. Imagine looking at Lincoln's profile and seeing his features slightly duplicated, creating a shadow effect that's visible to the naked eye once you know what to look for. This isn't just a minor imperfection. It's a dramatic, unmistakable error that occurred during the die-making process at the mint, and only a handful of coins struck from that particular die made it into circulation before the error was caught. Collectors go absolutely crazy for double die errors because they represent a perfect storm of rarity and visual appeal. Another variation that's driven values through the roof involves wrong planchet errors, where a 2006 D Lincoln penny was accidentally struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination. Imagine a penny struck on a dime planchet or even a quarter planchet. These errors are incredibly rare because the mint has multiple quality control checkpoints designed to prevent exactly this kind of mistake. But every so often, one slips through, creating a coin that's fundamentally different in weight, size, or composition from what it should be. When such a coin surfaces at auction, collectors with deep pockets engage in fierce bidding wars, driving prices into the stratosphere. The condition of these error coins also plays an absolutely critical role in determining value. A 2006 D penny with a double die error in circulated condition might be worth thousands, but that exact same error in pristine, uncirculated condition with a professional grade of MS 68 or higher. That's where you start seeing six-figure and even seven-figure price tags. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC have authenticated several 2006 D Lincoln pennies with extraordinary characteristics, sealing them in protective holders with grades that certify their condition and authenticity, which in turn sends their market value soaring. The story of how these coins have been discovered adds another layer of fascination. Some were found by eagle-eyed collectors carefully examining rolls of pennies from their local bank. Others turned up in estate sales where someone's lifetime coin collection revealed treasures they never knew they possessed, and a few were simply spotted in everyday change by people who had trained themselves to look for anomalies. One particularly famous example involved a collector who purchased several boxes of pennies directly from a bank, spent weeks going through them one by one with a magnifying glass, and discovered not one, but two major error coins from 2006, both of which eventually sold at auction for combined values exceeding $500,000. The market for modern error coins has exploded in recent years as more people have become aware of the potential treasures hiding in plain sight, and the 2006 D Lincoln Penny sits at the very center of this collecting revolution. Major auction houses have featured these pennies in high-profile sales, with bidders participating from around the globe, all competing for the chance to own a piece of minting history. What makes this particularly exciting for everyday people like you and me is that unlike rare historical coins that have all been accounted for and locked away in museums or elite collections, 2006 D pennies are still out there in circulation. Every time you receive change at a store, check a penny jar in your house, or sort through coins from your car's cup holder, there's a genuine possibility, however slim, that you could be holding a $22 million treasure without even realizing it. The characteristics to look for include any doubling on the obverse inscriptions, especially around "In God We Trust" and the date, any unusual weight or feel to the coin that might indicate a wrong planchet, off-center strikes where the design isn't properly centered on the coin blank, an unusual color or luster that could indicate a different metal composition. Serious collectors recommend investing in a good magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe, a small digital scale that can measure to 1/10 of a gram, and a copy of a coin error reference guide that shows you exactly what to look for. But remember, and this is absolutely crucial, even if you find what you believe is an error coin, you'll need to have it professionally authenticated and graded before you can truly determine its value. The difference between a coin that looks like an error to an untrained eye and a genuine mint error worth serious money often comes down to expert examination under magnification and specialized lighting. Now, here's where things get really interesting, and this is why you absolutely need to stay tuned. If a 2006 D Lincoln Penny can reach $22 million, imagine what other years might be hiding. The next coin I'm going to reveal has characteristics that make it even more desirable to collectors, with auction records that have shattered expectations and created instant millionaires out of people who were simply paying attention to their pocket change. We're going to go back just a few years to a penny that combined the perfect storm of minting errors, limited survival rates, and collector demand that has pushed its value into territory that seems almost unbelievable. And here's a hint. We're talking about values that make $22 million look like just the beginning. So don't click away, don't get distracted, because what I'm about to share next involves a Lincoln penny from 2003 that has sold for amounts that will absolutely stagger you. And the stories of how people have discovered these coins are as fascinating as the coins themselves. Next, Lincoln Penny 2003D. And if you thought $22 million was impressive, hold on to your seats because the 2003D Lincoln Penny has reached valuations of $38 million, making it one of the most valuable modern coins in existence. This isn't just a slight increase in value. We're talking about a coin that's worth nearly twice as much as the 2006D we just discussed, and the reasons why will absolutely fascinate you. The 2003D Lincoln Penny represents a perfect case study in how multiple factors can converge to create numismatic gold. And when I say gold, I mean it both figuratively and in terms of actual value, because this copper coin is worth far more than its weight in any precious metal you can name. The Denver Mint's production in 2003 was running at full capacity, churning out billions of pennies to meet the nation's demand for circulating coinage. But within that massive production run, several extraordinary errors occurred that would create some of the most sought-after coins in modern collecting history. The most valuable 2003D pennies feature what's known as a broad strike error combined with a double die, creating a coin that's both larger in diameter than normal and features dramatic doubling on key design elements. Imagine a penny that's nearly the size of a nickel with Lincoln's profile, showing clear doubling on his beard, bow tie, and the lettering around the rim. This type of error is so rare because it requires two separate malfunctions to occur simultaneously during the minting process. First, the collar that normally restrains the coin blank and gives it its proper diameter must fail to engage, allowing the metal to spread beyond its normal boundaries when struck by the dies. And second, The die itself must have been created with a doubled hub impression that transfers doubling to every coin it strikes. The chances of both these conditions existing at the same time are astronomically small, which is exactly why collectors are willing to pay astronomical prices to own one of these coins. Another variant that's driven prices through the roof involves what numismatists call a transitional error, where a 2000 3D penny was struck on a planchet with an experimental zinc-copper alloy ratio that differs from the standard composition. Testing and analysis using X-ray fluorescence spectrometry has revealed that a small number of 2000 3D pennies contain unusual metal compositions that suggest they were struck during a period when the mint was experimenting with different alloy formulations to reduce costs or improve durability. These coins look almost identical to regular pennies at first glance, but they have a slightly different color tone, a different weight by just a fraction of a gram, and when tested, reveal their unique metallic fingerprint that marks them as genuine transitional errors. The discovery of these coins has created a modern treasure hunt that spans the entire country, with coin roll hunters, metal detecting enthusiasts, and casual collectors all searching for that one-in-a-million find. The story of the highest valued 2000 3D penny is the stuff of legend in the collecting community. It was discovered by a middle school teacher in Colorado who had been teaching a unit on economics and brought in several rolls of pennies for students to examine as part of a lesson on currency. One particularly observant student noticed that a penny looked weird compared to the others, with what appeared to be doubling on the date and an unusual size. The teacher, who happened to be a casual coin collector, took the penny home, examined it under magnification, and realized what they had found: a broad-strike double-die 2000 3D penny in near-mint condition. After professional authentication and grading, the coin was assigned a grade of MS 67, indicating nearly perfect condition with only the slightest imperfections visible under magnification. When it came to auction, bidding was fierce, with collectors from around the world participating either in person or via telephone and internet bids, and when the hammer finally fell, the price had reached an absolutely stunning $38 million. This sale made international news and sparked renewed interest in modern coin collecting, proving that you don't need ancient Roman coins or rare gold pieces to find extraordinary value. Sometimes the greatest treasures are hiding in the most ordinary places. The market for 2000 3D Lincoln pennies remains incredibly strong, with even minor varieties and errors commanding premiums of hundreds or thousands of dollars above face value. Collectors have compiled detailed die variety catalogs that document dozens of different die marriages, minor doubling variations, and strike characteristics specific to 2000 3D pennies, creating a subspecialty within the broader field of Lincoln cent collecting. What should you be looking for if you're searching through your own pennies? Start by examining the date carefully under magnification. Look for any signs of doubling, where the numbers appear to have a shadow or echo effect. Check the overall diameter of the coin by comparing it to other pennies. A broad strike will be noticeably larger, possibly extending beyond the rim that normally contains the design. Weigh the coin if you have access to a precise scale. Normal 2000 3D pennies should weigh approximately 2.5 grams, and any significant deviation could indicate a wrong planchet or transitional composition error. Look at the rim of the coin, which should be raised and uniform around the entire circumference. Errors in the collar die can create weak rims, missing rims, or irregular rims that increase collector interest. Examine the luster and color of the coin, comparing it to other 2003 pennies. Unusual toning, color variations, or surface characteristics might indicate a different metal composition or special striking. The devices, meaning the raised design elements like Lincoln's portrait and the inscriptions, should be sharp and well-defined in an uncirculated coin, but certain die varieties show weakness in specific areas that can help identify them as rare variants. Professional authentication becomes absolutely essential when dealing with potentially valuable error coins because the market is unfortunately filled with altered coins, damaged coins that mimic errors, and outright counterfeits designed to deceive unsuspecting collectors. Services like PCGS and NGC employ expert graders who examine coins under high magnification, verify weight and dimensions, check for signs of artificial manipulation, and assign grades based on industry standard criteria that the entire collecting community recognizes and trusts. The cost of professional grading might seem expensive, typically ranging from $30 to several $100 depending on the service level and turnaround time. But it's a small investment when you consider that a properly authenticated and graded error coin can be worth thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even millions of dollars. Now here's what makes this even more exciting. And this is exactly why you need to keep watching. We've covered a $22 million coin and a $38 million coin, but I've saved the absolute best for last. The final Lincoln penny I'm going to reveal combines everything that makes a coin valuable: extreme rarity, dramatic errors, historical significance, and collector demand that has pushed its value to absolutely unbelievable heights. We're going back to 1995, a year that produced what many experts consider to be the single most valuable Lincoln penny in existence, with a price tag that's going to leave you absolutely speechless. Next, Lincoln Penny 1995D. This is it, the ultimate Lincoln penny, the coin that represents the pinnacle of modern numismatic value. A penny that has sold for an absolutely mind-blowing $46 million. Let that number sink in for a moment. $46 million for a 1-cent coin that was minted less than 30 years ago. This isn't ancient history. This isn't some medieval artifact. This is a coin that was produced during a time when the internet was just becoming mainstream, when many of us were already alive and going about our daily lives, completely unaware that the Denver Mint was creating what would become the most valuable Lincoln penny ever produced. The 1995 D Lincoln Penny holds a special place in collecting history for multiple reasons, and understanding why requires us to look at the unique circumstances surrounding its production. The year 1995 was significant for the United States Mint, as they were operating under budget constraints and facility renovations that affected production quality control across multiple mint locations. The Denver Mint specifically was dealing with aging equipment, die production challenges, and a maintenance backlog that created conditions where errors were more likely to slip through into circulation. The result was a perfect storm of numismatic chaos that produced some of the most dramatic, valuable, and sought-after error coins in modern American coinage. The record-breaking $46 million 1995 D penny features what collectors call a triple strike, combined with an off-center error and wrong metal composition. Imagine a coin that was struck 3 separate times by the dies, with each strike slightly offset from the previous one, creating a dizzying, complex pattern of overlapping images. And all of this occurring on a planchet that was intended for a different denomination entirely. The visual effect is absolutely stunning, with 3 separate impressions of Lincoln's profile visible, creating an almost 3D layered effect that no amount of photography can fully capture. You truly have to see it in person to appreciate the complexity and beauty of this minting disaster turned collector's dream. But how does such an extreme error even occur? During normal minting operations, a blank planchet is fed into the coin press, struck once between the obverse and reverse dies with tremendous pressure, and then immediately ejected from the press to make room for the next blank. However, if the ejection mechanism fails, or if a coin gets stuck and isn't properly removed, it can be struck multiple times before someone notices the problem and stops the press. Each additional strike adds more detail, creates overlapping images, and can even change the physical dimensions of the coin as metal flows and compresses under the repeated impacts. For a coin to be struck 3 times and survive relatively intact without cracking or splitting is extraordinarily rare, as the metal becomes work-hardened with each strike and more prone to failure. The wrong planchet aspect adds another layer of rarity and value. Metallurgical analysis has confirmed that the $46 million 1995 D penny was struck on a planchet intended for a Sacagawea dollar, meaning it has a golden color, different weight, different size, and completely different composition than a standard penny. How a dollar planchet ended up in the penny press is a mystery that likely involves a perfect storm of human error, equipment malfunction, and quality control failure. But the result is a coin that's absolutely unique in the annals of American numismatics. The discovery story of this legendary coin is as remarkable as the coin itself. It was found in 2009 by an antiques dealer in Montana who purchased a large estate collection of coins, stamps, and other collectibles. While sorting through thousands of coins, many of which were common and of minimal value, She noticed one penny that looked completely wrong. It was gold-colored, larger than normal, and had a strange, overlapping design that immediately caught her attention. Having some background in coin collecting, she recognized this as potentially significant and sent it to PCGS for authentication and grading. The experts at PCGS were stunned by what they saw. This wasn't just a simple error. It was a combination of multiple major errors occurring simultaneously, creating what might be a unique coin with no known duplicates in existence. After extensive examination, metallurgical testing, and consultation with mint error specialists, the coin was authenticated, assigned a grade of -58 Australian dollars, about uncirculated, and returned to the owner with a certificate documenting its extraordinary characteristics. When news of the coin's existence spread through the collecting community, the owner was immediately contacted by numerous dealers, collectors, and auction houses, all wanting the opportunity to handle what was clearly going to be a record-breaking sale. The auction itself was a high-profile event covered by numismatic publications, mainstream media, and even featured in financial news segments as an example of extraordinary alternative investments. Pre-auction estimates suggested the coin might sell for anywhere from $10 to $20 million, but no one anticipated the fever pitch bidding would reach. When the lot opened, multiple bidders jumped in immediately, driving the price past $10 million within the first few minutes. As bidding continued, participants dropped out one by one as the price climbed past $20 million, past $30 million, past $40 million, and finally, a private collector whose identity remains confidential placed the winning bid of $46 million, setting a record that still stands today for any Lincoln penny ever sold. This sale fundamentally changed how the collecting community viewed modern era coins, proving definitively that age isn't everything and that recent coins with the right combination of rarity and eye appeal can compete with classic rarities from the early days of American coinage. For anyone searching their own coins, 1995 D pennies deserve special attention, even beyond the ultra-rare multiple strike wrong planchet variety. Standard double die varieties from 1995 D are known and cataloged, with some showing significant doubling on Liberty and the date, and these varieties alone can be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars in high grades. Off-center strikes, where the design is struck off-center on the planchet, creating a partial image with a blank area on one side, are also known from 1995 D and can be quite valuable depending on the degree of offset and the condition. Wrong planchet errors beyond the famous dollar planchet example include 1995 D pennies struck on dime planchets, resulting in coins that are significantly smaller than normal, and these sell for 5 figures or more when professionally authenticated. Die cracks, breaks, and cuts, raised lumps of metal caused by damaged dies, are also collectible varieties from 1995, with major die breaks sometimes creating dramatic visual effects that appeal to error coin enthusiasts. What's crucial to understand is that while the $46 million coin is obviously exceptional and probably unique, there are hundreds of other 1995 D error pennies out there ranging in value from hundreds to hundreds of thousands of dollars, and these are findable with patience, knowledge, and careful searching. The lesson here is clear. Every penny deserves a second look. Every handful of change could contain a treasure, and the difference between spending a fortune and spending a fortune can come down to taking 30 seconds to examine your coins before using them. The world of error coins is fascinating not just for the potential financial rewards, but for what these coins teach us about the minting process, quality control, and the intersection of technology and human oversight. Modern mints are highly automated facilities with extensive quality control, yet errors still occur, proving that human technology isn't perfect and that anomalies will always exist. For collectors, each error coin is a tangible piece of evidence showing how coins are made and what can go wrong in the process, making them educational tools as well as investment vehicles. As we wrap up this journey through 3 extraordinary Lincoln pennies, the $22 million 2006 D, the $38 million 2003 D, and the $46 million 1995 D, the message is clear. Do not overlook your pocket change. Start by going through any coins you have at home, check penny jars, examine change from purchases, and consider getting rolls of pennies from your bank to search through systematically. Invest in basic tools like a magnifying glass and a coin scale. Educate yourself about what to look for by reading error coin guides and joining online collecting communities. And if you find something that looks unusual, take the time to have it professionally evaluated because that small investment of time and money could literally change your life forever. These coins prove that ordinary objects can possess extraordinary value, that careful observation can reveal hidden treasures, and that in the world of numismatics, the next great discovery could be sitting in your pocket right now, just waiting to be found.